Hey pups! RB here. I know I talk a lot about Pokemon on this channel, hence my name Riolu Puppy. And because I grew up with the franchise as a big part of my life, and not only birthed my love for gaming, mangas, but other animes and shows of the like as well, aside from Western-made shows like Rugrats and SpongeBob. Pokemon, Kimba, Hamtaro, and other kids' animes of the like were a big part of my life, and where my little otaku self started to bloom and blossom further into adulthood. Which is where the title of the video is brought up. Today, I'm counting down some of my favorite Pokemon episodes. A few rules before we begin. I will only be focusing on episodes from the Indigo, and maybe a few Orange Island episodes, because Kanto is what I really grew up on, so... Some episodes involving Johto, Hoenn, Sinnoh, and many more regions may or may not appear on this list. We'll have to see in this video. No promises though. Unfortunately, there won't be any honorable mentions for this list because I just don't feel like adding them on here. And finally, this is my own top 10. So, if you have a favorite Pokemon episode you wanted to see on this list, be sure to share them in the comments below. And without further ado, let's get started! The Ghost of Maiden's Peak. This episode was one of the scarier ones of the Pokemon anime from the Kanto series, and introduced us to the ghost-type Pokemon, Ghastly. To summarize the episode as basically and as best I can, there's a ghost maiden whose body turned to stone, waiting for her love to return from a war, but her love never returned, and now her spirit lures in Brock and James, and an old witch lady offers to help. But Brock, being the ladies' man he is under the ghost maiden's spell, and James has already snapped out of it, and the maiden and the witch lady turn out to be Ghastly this whole time. Unfortunately, Ash, the gang, and Team Rocket didn't win the fight, but luckily for them, when the morning sun rose, Ghastly disappears because he hates sunlight. Kind of like a vampire, but not really, I guess? Near the end, the maiden spirit and Ghastly have a nice conversation, and the rest of the celebration goes on, and Brock is still heartbroken by the maiden spirit, and the episode ends there. To be honest, I didn't find it necessarily creepy, but more hilarious with Brock and James being goofy and under the maiden's spell, and the battles especially. They were extremely entertaining. And this is also where my love for the occult, myths, ghost stories, and the like sparked my interest. Or maybe not. It was also an episode I would watch religiously whenever my folks and I rented Pokemon VHS tapes. The School of Hard Knocks. This is one of the episodes I'd watch all the time along with The Ghost of Maiden's Peak. The episode starts off with Ash and the gang getting lost in the forest, where it's extremely thick with a mysterious fog, and they soon stop and break for lunch. And when Brock says they need firewood to boil water for coffee and tea to go with their lunch, Ash and Pikachu head off to get the wood, when they run into some students, with one of them having to run on a treadmill while studying with a group of snobby-looking prep boys. Ash and Pikachu try to stand up for the kid, but the snobby group walk off, and the other students say they were just studying. And once the fog clears, there's a Pokemon prep school right in front of them. The kid explains everything about Pokemon prep, and the kid's name is Joe, by the way. He later shows a picture of the head student of the school, Giselle, and it turns out she's a massive snob that Misty despises already because Ash and Brock are just, as boys are, seduced by her beauty. Joe and Misty have a battle later on, after he demonstrates in a battle sim game how he defeats the Cerulean Gym, and Misty Stormy won the fight over Joe's Weeping Bell. And then Giselle shows up and basically talks smack to Joe, and Misty challenges her to a battle for her snobby mean girl behavior, and she loses to Giselle's Graveler. She then starts talking smack to Ash for having only 2 badges and 3 Pokemon, and keeping Pikachu unevolved from Raichu. Ash challenges her to a battle, and she calls out Cubone, and the battle seems like Pikachu is about to lose, but Pikachu then takes the upper hand and basically beats Cubone down and wins the match. And Team Rocket shows up and the students throw a crap ton of Pokeballs at them, and Giselle learns to be much nicer, and looks like she and Joe have a thing going on now. And yeah, that's how the episode ends. It's honestly one of my most favorites. While not in the most top tier episodes, it's still a personal fave of mine. The Britney Center Secret. This episode introduced Jesse and James's new rivals from Team Rocket, Cassidy and Butch. Yes, I will get his name right on purpose. As the gang see an ad for Pokemon Breeding Center, So Missy decides to take her Psyduck into the center for a massive makeover. They later come across a restaurant for free food if they bring the chef's favorite Pokemon, which happens to be Psyduck. The irony, am I right? With the center closed, they sneak in to find the center is kind of like a prison/pound for Pokemon, with Cassidy and Butch stealing Pokemon for Giovanni. Jessie, James, and Meowth come into the picture. Cassidy and Butch capture them, with Misty, Pikachu, and Togepi escaping, and they get arrested. So Misty and Pikachu manage to get the evidence back by getting back Todd's camera, because he took photos of the imprisoned Pokemon and shows the evidence to Officer Jenny, and Cassidy and Butch get arrested, and the gang finally get their free buffet. Jessie, James, and Meowth are still in jail, so they make a digging route to escape. And with the introduction of Cassidy and Butch, we see them again in later episodes like Pikachu Revolts, and a 3-part episode of a baby Lugia. The Bridge Bike Gang. This is one of those especially awesome episodes for me. It's kind of like Bullies turned Allies story in my eyes. Ash and the gang find a bridge that's under construction, and they have to get across to the next city. They do find out there's another bridge fully finished, but there's a catch. You have to ride bikes to get to the next city, which Missy constantly brings up and holds a grudge against Ash for it in the show, when her bike is barbecued thanks to Pikachu, defending him from a flock of Spearows, and they can't afford new bikes either. So, the nurse joy at the Pokemon Center offers them free bikes if they deliver medicine to the Pokemon Center in the next city. They agree, and later they meet a bike gang and are challenged to a Pokemon battle, which Ash takes the first one with Bulbasaur vs. Golem, then calls back Bulbasaur and sends out Charmander, who won the first match. The next match is with Misty vs. Tyra, the female biker, and as Misty is about to call out Staryu to defeat her Cloyster, Psyduck appears as usual, and unfortunately loses. Team Rocket appears riding unicycles, and the bikers refer to them as Big Jess and Little Jim, with Jessie being called Trainer Jessie back in her biker days, and Trainer James being the only one in the gang having to ride a bike with training wheels. Team Rocket then convinces the bikers to attack the gang and steal Pikachu, and Officer Jenny arrives, causing the biker gang and Team Rocket to run away with their tails between their legs. The weather then gets fierce, and the bike gang take refuge in a building and pressure Team Rocket to perform an epic jump on their unicycles and ride through the storm, and they agree to the deed. The bridge then lifts up, and both Ash and the gang and Team Rocket perform the jump, and they jump quite literally on Team Rocket's heads, causing them to fall into the ocean. And Ash and the gang are challenged by the biker gang once more, but they refuse, saying they need to deliver the medicine to Sunnytown at the Pokemon Center, which the gang agreed to help escort them. The meds are successfully delivered, and it looks like Ash and the gang befriend the biker gang, and give them nicknames of Awesome Ash and Mighty Misty. Brock flirts with Tyra, telling her to call him honey, and in classic Johnny Bravo-esque style, gets slapped in the face. And Team Rocket emerges from the waters on a single unicycle covered in seaweed. Hey, they get a free seaweed wrap at least. Right? Right? The Battling Eevee Brothers. While Pikachu was my all-time favorite as a kid, and later became a Lucario fangirl, Eevee is another one of my top favorite Pokemon. Ash and the gang find an abandoned Eevee, and they return to what looks like a big mansion, with 3 brothers, Sparky, Rainer, and Pyro, yes, those are their names, having Eevee's first 3 evolutions, Evolutions as the Pokefans call them, Jolteon, Vaporeon, and Flareon. The 4th and the youngest of the brothers, Mikey, has his Eevee back, and it's clear he didn't want it back. Why? Because of the brothers is celebrating the evolutionary stones and evolving Pokemon. His older brothers each had an Eevee of their own, and they evolved them via their personality traits and love for different Pokemon types. Hence their names. Mikey says he doesn't care about that, making his brothers and their Pokemon angry, and they pressure him to choose what they want his Eevee to evolve into. They later try to pressure Brock and Ash to evolve their Vulpix and Pikachu, which they refuse. And this episode involves stones such as Fire Stones, Thunder Stones, and Water Stones, for example. Using a stone on a specific Pokemon makes them evolve. Mikey and Misty have a convo about what Mikey wants for himself and his Eevee. Later, Team Rocket appears and capture all the Pokemon, steal all the food, and they're about to combine all the evolution stones on Eevee to create what I would imagine as a horrible, ungodly creature with the combo. Then Ash and the gang appear, and a battle ensues with the brothers and their Pokemon seemingly winning, while Ash and the others free the other Pokemon, and the brothers lose the battle, and Mikey and Eevee step up to defend everyone, and Eevee beats Team Rocket and wins, with a little help from Pikachu. Mikey tells his brothers that he wants to be an Eevee trainer and not evolve Eevee, which they happily understand. And they later celebrate Mikey's victory back at the party. I know the Eevee brothers get a lot of crap for peer pressuring everyone into evolving their Pokemon by force, but their acceptance with Mikey's decision does give them some brownie points, and kind of stop forcing folks to evolve their Pokemon, so yeah. Princess vs. Princess. Another one I would watch religiously. It's the Princess Festival and every woman, lady, and girl is celebrated, and all of men pay for everything. Misty and Jessie take advantage of the holiday, and Jessie also captures a Lickitung, and when fighting over a dress, Jessie and Misty decide to settle the quarrel via contest, and it's not just a beauty contest, it's also a Pokemon competition. Misty and Jessie each borrow their teammates' Pokemon for the battle, and they move up to the final round, which is Misty versus Jessie. Pikachu pretty much powers through all of Jessie's Pokemon. She brings out Lickitung, and Lickitung powers through all of her Pokemon, except for one. She calls out Starmie, but of course, Psyduck enters the battle. Each Pokemon isn't winning, but they aren't losing either. Later, Psyduck seems to get a headache, and as luck would have it, Psyduck's headaches cause it to use psychic power. It's kind of like Super Saiyan powers with Psyduck's headaches, and needs to release the pain and energy via psychic power, which Psyduck does, and Team Rocket unsurprisingly loses. Misty wins the battle and obtains a doll set, which she's sending to Cerulean City to make her sisters jealous. And this is honestly a personal favorite of mine. It kind of makes me wish I'd go to a princess festival. And surprisingly enough, there's a holiday similar to that in Japan. It's called Hanamatsuru, aka Doll's Day or Girls' Day. It's typically celebrated on March 3rd, and it's mostly with parents and sometimes grandparents passing down dolls or get new ones for their daughters from a year old or younger and are dressed in kimonos and are blessed to celebrate their health and growth, wishing for more happiness to come. Missy the Mermaid. I don't know what it is with me and choosing fantasy/fairy tale-ish episodes. Oh well. Anyways, the episode begins in Cerulean City. Ash and the gang enter the Cerulean City gym, and Missy's sisters have organized an underwater play/ballet about a mermaid who's kidnapped by pirates and saved by a prince. Kinda similar to The Little Mermaid, but with Pokemon and no evil sea witch. The performance goes well at the start, but then Team Rocket kidnaps two of Missy's sisters, who are playing the pirates, and tie them up and lock them in the locker room closet. Missy's other sister is about to get ready, and then Team Rocket steal the show and try to steal the Pokemon. But Ash and Brock appear and help out to stop Team Rocket. Just when you think they're about to lose and the Pokemon get captured, Seal steps in and attacks, and mid-battle evolves into Dewgong. As usual, Team Rocket loses the fight and are blasted off. The play is a success, and Missy's sisters offer to take care of Missy's watered Pokemon, like her Horsey and Staryu, and I think Starmie maybe? Except for Togepi and Psyduck, which Misty keeps. And this is a pretty chill and fun episode in my opinion. Guess this is where my love for water and other types of performances come from. Electric Shock Showdown. This episode is probably why Pikachu was my fave growing up. The episode starts with the gang finally entering Vermilion City, and they head to the Pokemon Center to get cleaned up, get something to eat, and heal up their Pokemon. When a trainer with a Rattata entered the ER with Nurse Joy, saying it was the fourth one that week, explained that the Vermilion gym leader, Lieutenant Sarge, was a powerful gym leader and doesn't let up so easily. Ash and the gang enter the gym, and Sarge mistakes Misty for the next challenger, which happens to be Ash. As soon as he notices him, he starts talking smack about him and Pikachu. He then shows his Raichu and goes about how awesome his Pokemon is, and how he forced it to evolve. Of course, this enrages Pikachu, and at first he didn't want to fight, but now he does to prove Surge and Raichu wrong. The first match doesn't go so well, and Pikachu ends up in the ER. Of course, Team Rocket watches the match unfold, and are surprised when Pikachu loses, and are surprisingly concerned for him. Nurse Joy suggests evolving Pikachu via Thunderstone, and Pikachu rejects the idea, saying he can be strong as he is, with an amazing speech Meowth translates, sending him and James into an emotional move. Don't know if Jessie's emotional or not, but I think she's crying on the inside. As soon as Pikachu's healed up, and Brock suggests a new strategy for Ash, Team Rocket cheers them on to win, and root for Pikachu during the second match. At first it seems like Pikachu's gonna lose again, but then Pikachu gets the upper hand and soon wins the match. Surge compliments Ash and Pikachu and rewards them with a Thunder Badge. And Team Rocket realizes they were too busy rooting for the good guys, and they forgot to do their usual routine in capturing Pikachu. Honestly, this episode was funny, entertaining, and overall amazing. Plus, it's got an epic Pikachu vs. Raichu match. Love it! Charmander the Stray Pokemon. I think I talked about this episode in the past, but this is why I love Charmander, and why I'm an animal lover and highly anti-PETA / animal abuse and the like. Ash and the gang are lost, and they find a route to Vermilion City, so as they're about to set off, they come across what appears to be a wild Charmander, but it turns out it's waiting for its trainer to come back. A storm hits, and the gang take refuge in a Pokemon Center, but they come across Charmander's trainer, Damien. I hate this guy. He just left his Charmander out there in the storm, and if the Flameone's tail goes out, it dies! That's upsetting and dark all at once, man! And Brock does the very thing all of us want to do to people like Damien. Scold him and tell him to go back and get Charmander. Damien doesn't listen, so the gang makes matters into their own hands. They fend Charmander off from a flock of Spearow, take it to the Pokemon Center, and save it just in time. The next morning, Charmander leaves the ER to go back and wait for Damien. And Ash and the gang come across Team Rocket, who are successful in trapping the gang and capturing Pikachu, and Charmander flamethrowers them away, saving Ash, Pikachu, and the rest of the gang. Damien comes back and his true colors are shown to Charmander, and this guy gets his just desserts, which is extremely satisfying to watch. And Charmander joins Ash and the gang, and it's honestly one of my top favorite episodes I'd recommend to any Pokemon fan who wants to start watching the anime for the first time. Even though it's not in the #1 spot, it's still my favorite. Speaking of which... Ash catches a Pokemon. The first ever Pokemon episode I remember watching on Cartoon Network one night. Ash manages to catch a Caterpie, much to Misty's insectophobia and disgust. And honestly, even though she's being a real bitch about it and towards Caterpie, I kinda don't blame her for being an insectophobe. Me, I can't even look up photos of bugs unless they're butterflies or moths. Anything beyond that, nope! Especially spiders. I can't even look up an image of spiders without having a panic attack. Ash and his Pokemon decide to travel to Pewter City without Misty, and she follows them, and says she's following them because Ash needs to pay her back for what happened to her bike. But we all know there's more to it than just a simple payback for a fried bike. Later that night, Ash and Misty fall asleep. Caterpie explains his evolution to Pikachu, which the scene is iconic and adorable, and extremely beautiful. Heck, there's even a music box of Pikachu and Caterpie, inspired by this scene. I wish I had one. The next morning, Misty freaks out over Caterpie and continues being bitchy and mean towards it, and Ash finds a Pidgeotto and tries to get Caterpie to battle it, but later has Pikachu fight it. Misty scolds Ash for not knowing what he's doing, and Team Rocket appears for a second time in this series, trying to kidnap Pikachu, and Ash tries to stop them by battling Pidgeotto with Jesse's Ekans and James's Coughing, but it seems like he's losing, so he calls Caterpie, and Caterpie uses String Shot on both Pokemon and Meowth, and Team Rocket run away, losing the match, tails between their legs, and Caterpie evolves into Metapod, and Misty has a bit of a change of heart towards Ash and Metapod, and this is my absolute favorite episode of all time. And this episode is the reason why I love Pokemon so much, even to this day. Plus, Caterpie's adorable. Prove me wrong. Whew! Alrighty, that was my top 10 favorite episodes of Pokemon. As said in the beginning, comment your favorite episode or episodes in the comments below, and I'll see you in the next one, pups. Cue the outro, RP is out, peace!